Hello and welcome back to my community on Afrocentric Television Channel 15.8. As you all know, it is a station that brings about the well-being of Africans and what we're doing in the Houston area, Texas, and by extension, United States. We're trying to change the narratives of Africans and bring about the positive image of Africans in diaspora. Here with us today in the studio is one of our Muslim clerics. As you know, this season is the season of Ramadan, where Muslims go into fasting for about 30 days. It's time to cleanse themselves, or in generally fasting. We're going to be talking about that. And coming up also this week is Mother's Day. So to join us and shine more light on what fasting is, what Ramadan is, what are the benefits of it, and the importance of Ramadan is our Muslim cleric, Imam Ibrahim Oladejo. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Well, I know this season, and I'm sure obviously you're fasting.
Oh, sure.
One of the things that is still very, very, it stands out for me is not just the reason why we fast, because even as Christians we fast, and as Muslims we fast, but there's this thing that is significant to Muslims. You have to wait for the moon. Why do we have to do that? We still have to come back to Ramadan, but why do we have to wait for that confirmation before we go into fasting?
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده نبينا محمد صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم. First and foremost, we give thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who out of his infinite mercy has keeping us alive till today. He continue to accept all our thanks and praises.
Amen.
Obviously, Muslim, whatever we do, there are two sources of information, there are two sources of law that we go into to clarify whether it is right or it is wrong. So the first one is the Quran, okay? And the second one is the Hadith, that's the saying of the Prophet ﷺ. So going by what you just said, why do we have to look for the moon? Okay, the Quran told us, and the Prophet ﷺ said it, Sumu liruyati, waftiru liruyati, fast when you sight the moon. And so that's an instruction right there. Fast when you sight the moon. And you break your fast as soon as you sight the moon. But if there is a kind of problem, maybe the weather is cloudy, you could not see it physically, then you count the previous one to be 29. In Muslim calendar, it has to be 29 or 30.
Got you. So that's why some people say it's either Sunday or Monday.
Exactly.
So now that I have that clarity, what then is Ramadan?
Okay, so Ramadan basically it means a month of Rahmah, a blessed month, a month of forgiveness, a month that you do away with everything that you cherish most.
You deprive yourself.
You deprive yourself, like a self-restriction. Basically, looking towards attaining, you want to elevate yourself spiritually. You want to move closer to God Almighty, and you want to fulfill the instruction of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala.
And that would prompt me to my next question, which is what is the benefit of this? I know one of them is what you just mentioned.
Yeah.
A time to deprive yourself, to cleanse yourself.
Right.
So what are other benefits of Ramadan?
So there are a lot of benefits. The number thing.
I want to hear the health benefit, the spiritual benefit.
Okay.
All of those things, because our audience, our viewers rather, they would love to know, why they are doing it, because a lot of times they say information is power, knowledge is key.
Right.
As Africans, we impose some things on our children. They don't know why they do it sometimes. And this is the United States. Not all our children goes to the mosque or church.
Okay.
Work might deprive them, because of their schedule and all of those things. So we need to educate them as to why certain things needs to be in place. So if you don't mind, I want you to talk about the health benefit and also the spiritual benefit of Ramadan.
So, number one, the general understanding of everybody when we say Ramadan is you abstain from drinking, eating, sexual intercourse within the dawn until the sunset. Okay, so everybody knows that any kind of ailment, any kind of diseases that we have, is you get those through what you eat, through what you drink, through what you put into
yourself.
What comes into your body.
Right.
Okay. So, for instance, somebody having diabetes, for instance, is probably the intake of the sugar. So if you restrain yourself, your food, your cholesterol and other stuff, it has to be limited. During Ramadan, you don't take too much food. Okay? And your body will be light. People just keep eating and eating and eating. Of course, we enjoy it. But the side effect is it damages your system. So during Ramadan, you restrain yourself, you minimize.
So that's a time in your life where you can go into
cleansing of the body. Right.
And then what you consume is actually, and I notice also that, I mean, the Muslim fasting, they eat what we call the sari. They call it in Yoruba.
Right.
I don't know the English name.
That's the sahur.
Sahur, okay. So they eat very, very, very early in the morning.
Right.
And they eat also, they break their fast after the sun is set.
Right.
Why that? Why not go all day and then break your fast in the evening? Why do you have to take the morning part of the meal?
Okay, so like I said, whatever we do as Muslim, you want to ask yourself, is this what God wants from me? There are two sources of information, two sources of law. So the Quran and the Hadith. So going by what you just heard about why do we have to eat the sahur, okay, that's the early morning breakfast. Okay, because the Prophet says so. When you want to fast, not just, oh, I'm fasting. No. The prerequisite, the requirement is you wake up. It's part of the requirement. You wake up and you take, and no matter how little it is. Even some people, they feel like, I'm not, whenever I take something early in the morning, it breaks down my system. I don't like it.
Yeah, because a lot of time, by the time it's noon time, you become hungry again.
Okay, so exactly. So, but if you still watch yourself and you say, oh, between this period, if I should take anything, it will damage my system. You still require at least to zip in water at least to fulfill that obligation. Something, put something in your system.
Gotcha.
Not a big bowl of rice or whatever it is. No.
Yeah.
So you have to do that. And the same thing when you want to break your fast, it has to be when the sun sets. Okay, so these are the requirements. Not just, okay, I don't think I can go no more. I want to break my fast 5 o'clock. After all, this is my body. No. If you want to fast, you have to, fulfill all the requirements.
But there has to be some exemptions to that, because a lot of times, but before we go into those exemptions, let's talk about the spiritual aspect of it. When you cleanse yourself, that is your physical being, you cleanse yourself there. I want to strongly believe that if you deprive yourself of those things also, during fasting, you need to go move closer to God. You need to pray some more, so that enhances your spiritual walk with God. Is that part of the benefit?
Yeah, it is.
Spiritual benefit?
It is. God says, "Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, kutiba alaykumus siyam, kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum, la'allakum tattaqun." O you believers, fasting is prescribed unto you, just as it was prescribed for people before you. Why? So as for you to restrain yourself, to have God consciousness. So the essence of fasting is for you to bring you more closer to your God. And what we do, not just you deprive yourself from eating, you engage in reading the Quran, because it's a month of the Quran. And that's why you see some people all over the world. At this month, what they do mostly is they gather together, they do tafsir, learning more about the Quran. What does the Quran have to tell us? How do we run our life? Because this is our manual.
Just like the Bible is for the Christian.
Just like the Bible, as you have said, yeah.
Right. So now that we have that understanding, I know we have that clarity. It's a time to get closer to God. It's a time to cleanse yourself physically. Who is exempted? Because I mean, if I'm pregnant, I can't be pregnant, obviously, right? But if a mother is pregnant, do they necessarily have to go into fasting?
Yeah. So, Quran also tells us people who are exempt from fasting. وَمَنْ كَانَ مِنْكُمْ مَرِيدًا أَوْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ فَعِدَّةٌ مِنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرَ. Those who are sick. And this has to be with your doctor. I mean, if I'm sick, I know I'm sick. Okay? But it's not that we're having a headache, that's not kind of sickness that we're talking. But whoever is sick, whatever sickness it is, if you are sick, God has, given you that opportunity not to fast. You are exempted.
Like
if you're on a journey,
medication.
Yeah, people who have diabetes, they want them to be taking maybe
insulin
every hour. So that means you're already exempted, because because you have to take care of your health too.
Does old age count to that?
Old age also can't. Okay, so people who are pregnant, somebody who is breastfeeding. Okay, so
the children,
if you
the child latching on the breast has
exactly,
to be well nurtured.
And if you don't take enough food, drinks, the breast, the milk will not be there. So you are depriving the child.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you are sick, just to recap, if you are sick, you are exempted. If you are, old age, you don't expect to be young again. So when you are old, you are old. Okay.
Can you tell me the importance of Laylatul Qadr?
Laylatul Qadr. Okay, so the other time when you asked about the benefit of Ramadan, so these are part of the opportunity that Muslims gain during this month. Laylatul Qadr simply means the night of power, the night of majesty. How do we know that? Quran tells us. Say, Inna anzalnahu fi laylatul qadr. Wa ma adraka ma laylatul qadr. Laylatul qadr khayrun min alf shahr. So that in this month there is a night of power, a night of majesty. Of course, Muslims fast between the period of 30 days or 29. But towards the last 10 days, we look forward to that particular. Nobody knows exactly what date it is. But we are given a clue. Odd numbers between 21, 23, 25, 27, 29.
So it's one of those.
It's one of those. And that's one of people, because you don't really know exactly when it is. People just, like a camp, they go into the mosque and they remain there for that 10 days.
So
knowing fully well that at least I'm in the mosque,
one of those
days will
meet me there.
And will meet me there.
So, after Ramadan,
right,
what's next?
Okay, so before I answer that, one of the things I also want to mention when you say the importance of Ramadan, okay, in these worldly affairs, we set aside some days that are so special. If you working in an establishment, the same hour that you spend for that, when you work in, they add to your salary, they pay more. Okay, so Ramadan is a special day. It's a special month. When whatever activity you do, you gain more reward. When we talk about Black Friday, for those of us in America here, okay, a TV that can cost like maybe $1,000, you can get it
discounted.
Highly discounted for that period of day.
Yeah.
Why is it not happening in other day? No, we don't know. But they choose that day. Okay, some people, they get turkey, on Thanksgiving. But you don't get it in other days. So,
right.
So all those things also applicable in Ramadan. Ramadan is a special month. Whatever activity you do, you get multiple reward. I don't know how much it is. If I pray Salat, for instance, Salat means prayer. Muslim pray 5 times in a day. So if I do my Fajr, my Zuhr, my Asr, I already know the amount of reward I'm having. Okay, but for Ramadan, we don't know. Okay, so it's a blessed month. That whatever you do, the reward accumulates.
Beautiful.
Okay, so what was the question you asked again?
It's after Ramadan.
Okay, so after Ramadan, we have 12 months in a year. For whatever reason, God chose only 1 month. So that month is for us to reflect. Whatever we do in that month, God wants us to continue in the other month.
So you don't just go back to your...
No, you don't
because you would have been cleansed, you would have been nurtured.
Born again. You have been born again.
Your work with God would have been more intense.
Exactly. Exactly. So the way I look at that is after Ramadan, it's like a retreat. Okay? During that month, like when you are in a company, for instance, they want to, check themselves, how are we doing? They go into a particular area, the hotel or whatever, 5 days, 6 days, and they brainstorm. Hey, what have we done wrong? How can we do this? How can we make it better? So whatever they agreed in that period, that's what they expect to go and do in the period of in the night to continue with it. So the same thing with Ramadan.
Thank you.
We pray regularly during Ramadan. We listen to the Quran. We feed others. When you see people lining up, regardless of your age, regardless of your status, everybody lined up to get the food. We eat together. So that unity is always there during Ramadan. But when Ramadan is over,
it should continue. Let brotherly love continue.
Yeah.
So I like that aspect of the food part. Because once Ramadan is done, I know we're doing Eid.
Yeah.
And during that Eid, I have a lot of my friends. that kill ram or goats,
Okay.
I usually go. I don't miss it every year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I go and I enjoy myself.
Right.
And we invite them over too when it's Christian time.
Right.
And, we have fun together. Well, thank you so much, Imam. But I won't let you go. You have to. I need your insight on one of the important dates in the United States. Even I think it's globally, which is Mother's Day, and it's coming up on Sunday.
Okay.
You're married, obviously.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So, why do you think there's an importance in that day, to celebrate Mother's Day in the United States?
Mothers. Subhanallah. For whatever reason, God Almighty, after saying we should obey Him, we should respect Him, the next person He mentioned in the Quran is your mother. Okay? Quran says, وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ حَمَلَتْهُ أُمُّهُ وَهْنًا عَلَى وَهْنٍ. Allah has ordained, Allah has decreed that you do good to your parents. Do good to your parents. Like I said, whatever we do, you check what the Quran says. So if God says, I've decreed, I made it mandatory.
It is mandatory.
It's not whether
it is not,
do I really want to do
have
it.
an option
No,
about it.
no. At times He gives you the leeway to say, okay, you want to do it, do it. But this time around,
He's saying,
it's
this
mandatory.
is what I ordered.
This is what I want to do. Okay, so and He gives us the reasons. Your mother carried you difficulty upon difficulty.
I know I probably was one of those that kicked the mother's womb, so because I just want to come out, and then she still survived.
Okay, she still survived it. And during the day of delivery, women go through a lot. And so for those reasons, God says you have to be kind to your
mother. So I have a question. This time of Ramadan,
right,
we have to celebrate also our mothers. Okay. Are there any religious implications?
Oh, that's what I'm saying. God already told us to be kind to our mother, to take them as a special human being, special person.
Special being.
Okay? The prophet also told us, when somebody asked him, who do I do good to most? Who is that person that I have to be kind to? And he said, your mom. He said, okay, who next? He said, your mom. Okay, I've heard you. Who next? He said, your mom. He mentioned that 3 times. Then who next? Then he said, your mother. So, in Islamic view, mother takes high privilege, even over the father. Okay? So, for instance, if I have $1,000, and I want to give it to my parents.
Don't say it publicly. Right. Don't let your father hear it, because he may get jealous. I think I know where you're going. He may get jealous. I'm not going to let you say that. I'm not going to get you into trouble.
Okay, yeah. No problem.
Well, thank you so much. And you've heard it from the cleric himself, is Imam Ibrahim Oladejo, as he educated us on the importance of Ramadan, why we should do it, the benefits, and who is exempted from it, the health benefit, the spiritual benefit also, and how we need to continue living our lives even after Ramadan is over. And as he had said, one of the important things that is a commandment from God and followed by the Prophet Muhammad is that we should honor and be kind to our mothers. It is Mother's Day coming soon on Sunday, I believe. So it will be great for you to do something good for your mother, but then don't lose your place in Ramadan. Until next time, catch you again.